I'm Lorinda. You know who I am. Go to Watch. I've been a Watch a long time. I've known Terry Boswell and Lou Metcalf for a very long time. I lived at the group home when I was first coming here with Lulu and Terry Boswell because she was my group home mother and my group home sister. It's like they're family. They're both loving. Lulu liked to dance around, and Terry Boswell just danced around with her. Lulu had tons of dolls, and they were beautiful. Terry, she just enjoyed being around with all of us who lived in the group home. And they're both wonderful people.
And we had a wonderful time together. We had lunch together. And that was my last high here. And when we shook hands, and I gave her a hug, and I said, "Goodbye, Deborah."
Virginia. Oh man, she had so much fun at work. What a hard worker she was, and she was full of spit and vinegar, like she said. She'd come to work every day with a smile on her face and just really ready to go. You can always count on her to get the work done, and we just really miss Virginia, and I'm glad she was here.
I always remember David out in nature, and he'd always put his hands out and he would smile really big and enjoy the river or the mountain or wherever we were, and just really did lots of David.
I would say something. Lulu's goofy and funny.
When I think about Terry Paulsgrove, I think about some really wonderful things that we did a program, and she was my boss for a lot of years, and a really good friend for a lot of years, and we had some wonderful times together. And I think about camping in Monterey, and she introduced me to having beers after work at the Stent Bar. And, she really knew how to run some really excellent program, and she's the one that helped us develop the trades craft guilds where we did the necklaces and different things. And I have some wonderful memories of Terry, and I felt just devastated when I knew that she was no longer with us.
Deborah Scott, I love Deborah Scott. She's from Alabama. I loved her accent. She used to go online and find some really good down-home recipes like catfish and jambalaya and different things. And she'd always talk about how her and her family, they'd go fishing and they'd catch catfish and all the good things about living in Alabama and how hot it was. Oh, Deborah, we miss you. And she was a really nice, wonderful lady.
Jay Cornwall was one of the nicest men I've ever known in my whole life. He was very funny, and he liked to play practical jokes. He was my first boss when I started working here in Watchworks, and I just remember how kind he was with all the consumers and with the staff. He was very thoughtful. And he would do things like every once in a while we'd be working really hard, and then all of a sudden he would just like, "Popcorn," and we'd all of a sudden stop working, and he'd just serve us a bunch of popcorn, and he wanted people to enjoy themselves and have a good time, and it was always nice to just have Jay around. Luckily, he moved away, moved to Oklahoma a long time ago, but luckily I've stayed in contact with him over the years with, cards and phones, stuff like that. Sure gonna miss Jay Cornwell.
Virginia, she was a good friend. She was jolly, smiling all the time. And we used to eat lunch together. And we always been friends all over since I met her. I want to know, I like Virginia very well. She's a nice, lovable person. She'll walk up to you and give you a hug, and she's always smiling at you.
She's pretty nice. and sometimes she likes to pick on me.
He's a nice guy, and we all loved Carlton. He was a best friend to all of us, and he's a good worker.
One of the things I remember about David Carlton is that he was incredibly funny and he had perfect comedic timing. So it was always fun to spend time with him. But you know, one thing about David that I will always remember too is that he taught me so much about computers, because he would get in there and he would change the defaults on a variety of things, and then I would be like, oh no, how do I fix that? Oh, David, what did you do? I'm going to miss David a lot.
I knew Virginia quite well. She was a very nice person to work with. She never had a bad word for anybody, and I remember a couple times, or maybe it was more than that, that she worked on landscaping crew. But I miss her.
Yes, the Matthew, about the Matthew work and the fun. The if you're doing is you could is work through is put around the things about.
Virginia and for Deborah. Really gonna miss both of those ladies. Actually, we're gonna miss all of them, but those two especially for me. Deborah, I had met driving bus, and she was quite talkative, and she had that southern accent, and I loved talking to her. About the Midwest, we had lots of in common. And Virginia, oh my goodness, where to go with Virginia? I've known Virginia forever. We worked at, or I worked at the Tuolumne Adult Daycare, and that's where I met Virginia. And she always used to tell me, where's the beef? I'm going to miss that. And then, of course, when I come to Watch, here she is. She's at Watch, and we've done many things together. I've met her at the casino. High Gear has been there, or Personal, she's been there with her brother, and I introduced her to my husband, and we've had many good times at Good Stuff, and just socializing. And she was a great hard worker. Had to get that lady to slow down. Gonna miss her dearly.
Lily was one of those ladies in her generation. Coke and Pepsi was the big thing. I can understand that. Lily and I were the same age, same month of birth. So where Lily is now, she can have that Coke any day. Miss you.
I had the pleasure of working with David Carlton on the landscape crew. I'm one of the instructors, Richard Vandergrift and myself, and I really thoroughly enjoyed David. David was a really good employee. He tried really hard. He always had a positive attitude, and we got along. The fact is, he was very comical, and sometimes we'd have some pretty good laughs together. A lot of good memories there, and I pray that I know he's in a better place, and I know he'll do fine where he's at. I hope someday we can all be together. But like I say, he's one of the nicest guys I've ever had to work with, and he meant an awful lot to me and Richard. And like I say, I can't see him saying anything mean or anything about anybody. So he was just truly a delightful person to know.